Blockchain, crypto, NFTs, DeFi, metaverse, Web3 is literally eating the world, and community builders are the new leaders. Hi everyone, I'm Bilal El Alami, co-founder of PyratzLabs, a startup studio fully dedicated to Web3 startups. I'll give the mic to Web3 builders, founders, and investors so that we can deep dive with them into what is truly about Web3 entrepreneurship. No conventional bullshit, only creativity, rebellion, and community-driven insight. Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for following up one new podcast with us. Today we're with Thomas, the CEO and co-founder of Immortal Games. You must have heard about this name. Hello, Thomas.
Hey,
how are you doing this morning?
Very good, thank you.
Thanks for accepting. Thanks for accepting the invitation. So let's dig in. Let's start directly. You know, I like to go back to the foundations of the entrepreneur behind the person and the project. So I would love to have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about yourself and specifically where did you grow up?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in Paris, so quite classical for a French guy. Started more engineering school, so very technical stuff. And then I switched to business just after school. I started working a bit in merger and acquisition, so very classical careers that was starting for me. But quite soon I realized that I wanted something a bit more exciting and to take more risk. So that's when I started 10 years ago now, my first company with a co-founder called Yanis Yaoui. And the name of the company was Adot. It was mobile advertising. So completely Web2 company. At the time, Web3 was almost non-existent, I guess. And the idea was just to do what we call RTB, so real-time bidding, the fact that you can broker ad placements on mobile and desktop, a bit like what crypto is doing at a much larger scale. And it went quite well. It was our first company, so we learned a lot, obviously. Very back to basics. And we sold the company 2 years later to Vente Privée. So it was a first interesting step for us. And at this moment, we're 30 in the company. And we grew the company in 4 years up to 100 people, end of 2020 during COVID. And at this moment, I left totally the company. So that was 2 or 3 years ago. Amazing adventure. So you sold to Vente Privée and then you stayed a little bit more? Yeah, for the classical earnout. A bit longer than what we expected, to be honest. But it was quite interesting to see, let's say, the other side of a venture with a much bigger company, Vente Privée, and a lot of politics, some new ways to navigate around that. Obviously very different than when you are starting a company and you've built everything from yourself. So it was very interesting, learned a lot of stuff. Quite happy to end this career in 2020. And that's how then I started Immortal Game. Because actually 2 former employees of this first company, so it was like people I've been knowing for like almost 10 years also, came to me and we discussed about Web3. Honestly, at this moment, I didn't know anything about Web3 except that I had a lot of software engineers back in the bull market, I think in 2018, that were trading crypto coins and shit coins in my open space. So I was quite pissed about that, to be honest, because it was taking a lot of time and a lot of their salaries into that. So I hadn't a very good, let's say, experience about crypto at this time. But then this guy called David Tingala, who is now a co-founder of Immortal Game and our CTO, came to me and told me that he was already in Web3. He was working with Julien Bouteloup, that I guess some of you know, guys, and he had worked a lot on StakeDAO. So he showed me a little bit about the strings, about how it was working in Web3, in DeFi. I felt that it was very, very interesting in terms of everything in the background, like mathematical with the automated market making, a lot of stuff like that. So I felt that, there was something to do in this field. And that's how we decided to build something together. Honestly, at this moment, we didn't know at all what it would be. So we started exploring a lot of different ideas from gaming, DeFi, real estate, a lot of stuff. And so it took us several months to figure out what we wanted to do. And at this moment, I don't know exactly how it happened, but we say, okay, maybe we should do something in gaming, because I think a bit the way you had the same idea with Dogami, the fact that we were seeing a lot of hits like Axie Infinity and games like that, which were quite interesting on the, let's say, economical background and the community building. But we felt that something was missing on the gaming part. So that's why we thought that maybe Web3 deserved better. I don't say we are providing better, but we are trying at least. And yeah, that's how we felt that we are not game designers. So we need to find an existing game that is really easy to adapt and very powerful enough to adapt to Web3, to use it as a, let's say, as an onboarding tool for Web2 to Web3 users. Mm-hmm. And that's how we decided to go for Immortal Game, so to build a chess game on Web3.
Super interesting. Indeed, when we chose to do the game, it was also because we believed game was a good medium for adoption and having people try something in a fun way. And yeah, chess is played by millions of people, so it was the right sweet spot. Tell us more about your youth and were your parents entrepreneurs as well? Who did inspire you to go towards more business?
So on this, I'm quite, let's say, eclectic maybe, because to be honest, my parents are not in business at all. They're artists. Okay. So my father is not theater, I say that in English. So that's dans le théâtre. I don't know exactly say that.
Like a theater producer?
Yeah, like a director. Okay. And my mother is a comedian. So very specific, and my whole family is artists actually, except one aunt and one uncle who were business developers. So they had before the Apple Store, you know, like the physical Apple stores, they had like the biggest retail stores for Apple products in France. Amazing. So it was like a competitor to Surcouf, maybe, that you know, that now still exists, and, or maybe not. But at the time it was quite big. And it was my first internship at 14 years old, and that's how I paid my first MacBook actually. It didn't look like that at the time. And yeah, so that's actually, I think, the little fiber in the family that let's say helped me, or given me the will to do a bit more business and to be an entrepreneur.
Okay, so that's within our family, and do you consider someone outside of your family being very impactful in your decisions?
Honestly, not that much. It was, I think, like some people are like born entrepreneurs, and some are more coming entrepreneurs from accidents. I think I'm more like the second category, because you know, after engineering school, I did Polytechnic in France, so I had like a very straight career in front of me, coming from let's say a family where a lot of ups and downs. You know, it was my parents weren't like classical employees of a bank or whatever. So like every day was an adventure, which is obviously amazing. But it's also when you're a kid, it's like it's, you know, you have to adapt. You have to feel you feel that there is some pressure, whereas obviously you amplify everything. So it was a bit difficult. I wanted something much more cooler. I thought I wanted something much calmer, much cooler, and that's why I decided to go to banking, to do like the safe path.
Traditional path.
But actually it lasted only 6 or 7 months. So it was very quick that I think my family background.
You needed the
thrill. So that's. But it was. I see it more as an accident. I didn't, when I was 14 years old, I wasn't thinking, we'll start a business or whatever. It's when I was 24 or 23, I don't recall exactly. I was in this bank. It was interesting. I met a lot of very powerful guys, and actually it helped me to understand that they were like you and me, not much more intelligent or whatever. So you felt also more capable of doing things. So which is really important when you are very young, and that's how I met my my former co-founder Yanis was working also as an intern in the bank, and during one holiday, Christmas holiday, I say okay, let's create and let's start something together. So it was honestly more an accident, like a.
And where did you choose that advertisement? Where did this come from?
Yeah, again, it's a bit like it's a
opportunity.
Yeah, opportunity, because Yanis had done an internship in a company like 3 or 4 years before, so like 15 years ago, in a company called PyratzLabs that still exists and that was bought by Webedia now.
Okay.
And is bought by Webedia. And actually they were doing kind of the same of what we were doing, but like on desktop only. And the idea was to bring the same idea and concept to mobile. And the timing was golden, honestly. We were so lucky. We didn't know at all, but we realized that it was the very beginning of a lot of advertising with what we call SDK in the different apps and stuff like that. A big actor of that still exists actually in France. It used to be called Smart Ad Server. It was a huge distributor of ads, like from a digital point of view. I think they are in the next 120, okay. So they were announced yesterday. The name now is Equative. I think they rebranded, but it really helped all the ecosystem to develop because they installed their SDK in a lot of apps like PMU, like Le Monde and stuff like that. And we were like brokers buying ads for on top of them to deliver campaigns. So it was honestly a great adventure from a technological point of view. That's the first time I touched like real production because we were receiving, like, for people who are a bit technical, like maybe 200K requests per second. So in terms of servers, we had big bills at AWS. And we had to be live like every time because we were delivering ads in the US, in France, all around the world, and we couldn't afford being down. So it was a very challenging time on the technological part. Very interesting, but very B2B. So very, very different than Immortal Game.
What you're doing now. All right. So you mentioned the project started from employees from your previous company. Can you tell us more about what is exactly Immortal Game, and is it different from a traditional chess game? What is Web3 bringing to chess game?
So we are trying to find the right balance between not corrupting the game, like not changing it too much, and obviously bringing some new stuff thanks to Web3. So we definitely see Web3 as a utility to empower and to entertain people more. But we want to keep the spirit of chess. We don't want to change the rules, and because there might be initiatives that like create whole new games and stuff like that, which is perfectly fine. But we are not game designers, so we want to really capitalize on chess. So that was really the first statement and what we wanted to realize, to achieve in the company. And so the way we see it is that Web3 really is a very interesting, for us, very interesting tool to hyper-growth our community. So as you know, chess is a PvP game, so it's very difficult, especially at the start, to create your first player base because obviously you need to have matchmaking. So you need to have a minimum pool of players playing. It's synchronous and not asynchronous. So.
Otherwise they would wait.
Yeah, of course. And they are still waiting too much than what I would like, but much less than at the beginning and much less than if we didn't have enough players. And so Web3 helped us a lot at the beginning for that because it really helped us create a community on Discord, obviously with a loot boxes concept at the very beginning so that people would be able to earn and to get free NFTs at the very beginning so that they are encouraged to test our game, even if it was really buggy at the beginning and a lot of stuff to improve. But that was the first step of how we use Web3, to be honest, was really to create this minimum community to be able to have games played on the platform. And then now what we want to to do is really to keep using Web3 as a catalyst for community. So we create mini games on top of chess. So it can be with quests. So for example, with NFTs you have of pieces of the game like a pawn, a bishop, or whatever. You would be able to unlock like mini games on top of your chess game. So for example, if I have a pawn, its quest would be take 2 other pawns. So it's like an incentive to do something in the game. If you do so and you win the game, you get additional rewards.
Okay.
If you win the game, it's okay, you get rewards, but not as much as you would have got.
So you put in place some kind of handicap.
Yeah, it's kind of an handicap. Yeah, so it's exactly a very interesting point because for us it's also very important because in chess it's difficult to play against players with different levels, and it's we call it Elo in chess, so in other games too. And it's very, as soon as your Elo level is more than maybe difference is more like 100, it's really difficult to match people because they play like against someone who is much weaker or much.
Okay, I see. So basically, it brings more fairness in the matchmaking.
Yeah, it brings
kind
like a way to enjoy the game and to entertain, even if the Elo difference is let's say
it's tremendous.
It's tremendous compared to what you would expect when you play normal chess. So that's, for example, one mini game that we've put in place, and that actually was the first mini game we started with to bring something more. And in addition to that, we are creating a lot of what we call factions. It's a way so it's in alpha now, but we are soon gonna release it to everyone. I hope once everything is completely done. We are really incentivizing people to create teams because chess is a wonderful game, but it's not a team game by itself. So we are trying to make it a team game with the help of Web3. So we use Web3 to incentivize people to play together, like to cover some time zones, to be also active on social, so that they create their teams. They feel close to their branding image of the team and stuff like that. So that's very new and something we are working on. Let's say which is a bit apart from the chess game because obviously it's linked to it and people will have to play chess and to complete some mini games, to complete some quests with the chess game. But it's like a meta structure away from it.
Okay, particular but interesting. You mentioned about your community. Can you tell us more about who they are, how big it is?
Yeah, sure. So
some KPIs.
Yeah. So the main KPI we are but we are monitoring is the DAU, so the daily active users, because what is really interesting with chess is that when people enjoy your games, they can play every day. So for us, it's really important to monitor that. So right now we are between 5 to 10K daily active users, depending on the week and on the seasonality. So without any advertising. So the idea is really to grow the community organically up to the point when we are completely satisfied with the product and we feel that it's worth to communicate more on it. So that's honestly on my level. It's the main KPI I'm looking at is the DAU. In terms of accounts created, we had a lot because it's really interesting for us because it shows that there is a huge interest for people to have a chess game in Web3. So, but that's something we were obviously convinced. Otherwise, we wouldn't have started the company. But we were definitely. It was completely confirmed by people creating a lot of accounts. But what we were seeing is that that's why we want to improve the product as much as possible. Is that it's difficult to onboard people from creating an account, then to completely make them understand the Web3 concepts behind it and also Web3 in general, because they can be afraid or whatever, and then to have them like active daily players. Sorry.
With the Web3 layer. Okay.
Yeah.
And So right now the app is still on test flight.
Yeah, so
It's open to the people who have the link, but it's not test flight, right?
Yeah, exactly. So not exactly to people who have the link, but we have for the moment we have distributed it only to the players, to the current players on the desktop platform or web app, because we have a lot of people that play on mobile but on the web app, and we should launch it in the coming weeks or coming days on obviously iOS and Android. A first version like a light app, which is quite good to play chess, but very simple. And in a second step, we'll obviously publish a new app with much more features, especially with a lot of crypto features, because Web3 features. Because for the first one, we only launched features around chess, because when we started the development of the app, we weren't sure completely about, let's say, Apple's framework regarding Web3 and NFTs. Now that it is more stable and we have more certainties about how it's going to be, we feel confident about building something with Web3 and NFTs included in the app.
Okay. And in what people are trying right now, there is very few Web3 stuff. They're just playing the game and they have some quests that they have to accomplish.
Yeah, they have some quests. Obviously they can invest in NFTs. With those NFTs, it's like it can be seen as a multiplier on the rewards or something like that. So
there are already NFTs in circulation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How many approximately?
I don't have the figure exactly right now. I couldn't tell you, but we have like in terms of holders. So I have a better vision on that. It's we have I think 15K holders of NFTs,
nice.
Something like that.
Okay, that's not bad. And how big is the company right now? I heard you are about 30 people.
We have about 30 people, yeah.
Okay.
So it's moving every week, but we are about 30 people, more than half on the technical part.
Okay.
So like software engineers, blockchain developers, infra people, so as you know, and the rest of it is on the game design and business part, marketing, design.
So from what I understood, you have a very organic growth so far, and you're waiting for the full release of the next version to be more aggressive.
Yeah, and especially not only on the full release, but really to fill the right spot when we'll be there in terms of retention, especially, and to find our flywheel in terms of we need first to find our flywheel organically, and then everything will be easier in terms of growth development.
All right, and can you re-explain the feature improvement in the next version?
Mm-hmm. So I haven't explained it, but in terms of so it's really so the next version that we're gonna launch, not the app, like even the desktop app, it will be focused on the onboarding. So it's not like features on Web3 and stuff like that. So but it's really focused on onboarding, how to improve the retention, because what we have witnessed is that people that understood everything into the games, they are crazy about it, and they play like, honestly, some people play 6 or 7 hours a day. Wow. So in terms of retention, it's crazy. But we need to be better to onboard the new players, at least a part of it, to get to this sweet spot. And so that's why on the next version, the most effort has been put on the onboarding part to explain how the economy works, how the NFTs works, how the mini games works, and everything. And what we're gonna also introduce is new mini games, if we call it this way. I'm not sure it's mini games, but let's say new game modes. And so, for example, we try to bring other concepts of like card games, like Hearthstones and stuff like that, to chess, to make it maybe more entertaining or a bit less flat, to bring something new. So for example, we are bringing like an arena game mode. So like just like in game Hearthstone, you would enter the arena and you have to keep winning, and if you have as long as you haven't lost 3 times or 4 times, so it depends obviously of what we decide, you would be able to keep playing. So there is obviously more thrills added to it. It's like a new way to create a tournament that doesn't really exist in chess. We are also working a lot on the puzzles. So I don't know if you know what are puzzles in chess. So instead of starting at the beginning of a game, you would start in an existing position, and you have to finish the game or to win or to draw if you are in a bad position or whatever. And the idea would so there is something called Puzzle Rush that already exists.
So a lot of game modes.
Yeah, a lot of game modes. Yeah.
Okay, and you've been supported by a lot of master chess player.
Yeah.
Who are those guys? What are they bringing to the project?
So, so a lot of the grandmasters are quite interesting and happy to work with us because it's something new for chess. So, you know, chess has been crazy since Queen's Gambit and COVID, but the people feel that they need new initiatives and they really like the idea to bring Web3. So that's how we convinced a lot of grandmasters. The first one was Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, who is the #1 French chess player. And actually what they bring is, so it's on different levels. Obviously it would be visibility for us, credibility, but also a lot of insights on what we should develop and produce. So when I'm talking about the game modes, for each game mode we are discussing, actually we ask the advice or the advice of one grandmasters or master, whatever, so that they can give us hints about what we should develop, if they think that it's fair, also in terms of games, or what we should make as differences compared to what we had imagined. So that's really important for us in terms of visibility, product development, and also to really feel how it is, how is competitive chess.
Do you create like a competition where some of your players have to beat Maxime? Or?
So we have already done some tournaments where you would be able, just in participating, to confront such players. So that's something we've already done. But what we want to do for this year is something much more structured, where you would be, in terms of the teams I was discussing about a bit earlier, you would be able to be in a team with one grandmaster, like sponsoring it or being a team captain. And this guy would maybe give you some advice on your game, like to be a coach. He would obviously play with you in some tournaments or play against you and stuff like that. So that's something we are really working on to structure more around it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely fun. Is there, so the first global launch of your app is going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Okay?
Yeah.
And except from this release, is there like a big announcement? Where do you expect to reach in this year? Because except your fundraising announcements, you've been quite under the radar.
Yeah. So that's definitely our spirit for the moment. We want to be to go out of the wood once we have something very clear to say and something new to announce. So for the moment, we feel that we are not ready, to be honest, and that's also why we raised. It's to have the time to develop, to produce, and to be confident on our delivery timeline. So that's something we're working on. We have all those improvements also on the desktop app and on the game modes. And the idea is by end of the year to reach a much bigger player base. So the goal would be to reach at least 100K daily active users by end of the year. So that's something we are putting all our efforts to. And at this moment, we think it goes through onboarding improvements, as I said. But the next big announcement, the app won't be a big announcement, to be honest, because we feel it's really like something we should have published earlier. But given all the uncertainties regarding Web3 in the app, we were a bit shy about it, to be honest. But the big announcement will be the new desktop app and a lot of things coming.
But the game is cross-platform. You can play on your
of course,
on your phone against someone on your.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, because otherwise, in terms of matchmaking, it's more difficult.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure and say the word cross-platform. All right, let's get back to you, Thomas, and to your founders, your past as a founder. You know, so you came from both Web 2 and real estate to Web 3.
Yeah.
What did you find hard in grasping the concepts of Web 3 and?
So I think it's obviously depends of the profile of the founder, but for myself, I don't come from a Web3 background, as you said. So definitely, for me, it was to understand all the concepts, all the, let's say, to sort the bullshit from the real stuff, especially with ICOs, and as you know, I guess you're even much more visible than me on Telegram and whatever. You are contacted all the day by I don't know how many scammers and people on Telegram and with mails and stuff like that. So you are honestly overflooded as soon as you announce a fundraise or whatever, and it's difficult to sort what is interesting from what is. That's something you should swipe.
Yeah.
And I would say it was the most difficult part on this new adventure for me, because it's new paradigm. I didn't have all the codes. I don't have all the codes yet, to be honest, because I don't come from this. But I'm working to understand.
Do you find it fascinating?
Yeah, honestly, it's crazy, and it's definitely something. It's what I really like, and I think it's the same thing for all the team players in the company, is that we are in the center of something very new, like a bit like the Far West or whatever, and you feel like every day something completely new could happen. So it can be very bad like FTX, but it can be very interesting like any other stuff. So honestly, that's absolutely thrilling. And that's something I had felt also in my first company, because we were at the right time, at the right moment, at the right place. And I feel the same with Web3. And that's something obviously that everyone is wishing for as an entrepreneur. And you feel, you have the feeling that everything is possible. And I guess you show it very well that we can do a very, very different thing in this field. And we can recreate and reinvent a lot of the Web 2 establishments in it. And that, I feel, is passionate.
Definitely. If you would look at you when you started, what would you say to yourself? What would you give to yourself? Is there some resources?
I think that at the very beginning, we lost a bit of time around thinking about, should we issue a token, shouldn't we issue a token, and stuff like that. Well, it was also another market, so it was different. But I think we might have, we should have been more focused on like building the product, building the community, spending more time with the community and stuff like that. Something I'm really far from, given my background, very B2B. So, I was talking to only like other companies and stuff like that. So honestly, at the very beginning, I didn't know how to interact on Discord from a technical, but also from a social point of view. So I would have liked to add in my team at the very beginning. Now, obviously, we have that. Someone who is more specialized on the Web3 culture, but also just like to answer to people, because that's in the end, it's what matters.
Some resources like books, influencer, podcast, newsletter that were very instrumental in your mind.
Honestly, it's more like people. So so that's very personal, but I don't really read book on business and or read newsletters and stuff like that.
Is there a Twitter page you follow?
There are, but honestly not on business.
Not necessarily on business,
but so what I it's more like people that I met discussing. So for example, you when we met I don't know, it was 1 year ago or something like that. It was the very beginning for me. Julien Bouteloup, David Singala, my co-founder. So it's more like guys like that, and the experience to also some lawyers from Orwell, just to have the grasp of what is going on in Web3. So it's also Brian O'Hagan from Sorare.
You met some good professionals.
I was lucky to, also given my experience, it was easier to access those people, obviously. But yeah, I think I prefer like discussing with people and to interact lively. So that's really because also I have the chance to be able to do that. But yeah, I think it was more like that to really understand the finesse of Web3, what was really going under the hood, because yeah, as we say, a lot of crap is
Constantly happening.
Is constantly happening. So you really have to have a detector to understand what is going really.
And do you have some daily routines that you have? Because we arrived here this morning, you were the first one. Is it always like that? What do you do?
No, it's not always like that because I have a small baby, now 1 year and a half. So
congrats.
So thank you. So honestly, my schedule is quite hectic given that sometimes I take care of him. My wife is actually an entrepreneur too, so she also has a specific schedule. So honestly, it really depends. Even someday I don't come at the office, but I work from home. So on this, given that is my, let's say, second startup, I'm quite, and a big part of the team knew me from before. So I'm quite comfortable about to tell them, okay, today I won't be at the office, but you can reach me on Slack whenever you want. So in terms of routine, no, I wouldn't say I have anything, except that when I have time, I like to have lunch with the guy and play some chess in the cafeteria. Unfortunately, we recruited someone who is much stronger than me, so now I can't say that I'm the best. So it's really bad for my
because reputation. You were in the beginning.
Yeah, but because they were bad, not because I was good. Yeah, now we have someone who is not professional, but like almost. So like so 2,100 elo, so it's quite strong.
Nice.
At least compared to me. So yeah.
All right. But thanks, Thomas. Like we've went around most of the questions I wanted to ask you. Is there anything you want to share to the audience?
No, just maybe that it's really important to see below or inside what really Web3 is, and not like to take too much care about FTX, about all the mess and everything.
How do you see 2023 in the ecosystem?
So in the ecosystem, I wouldn't say, but more for like startups like Immortal Game, like Dogami, like MetaFight, like Sora, whatever. I think that it's an amazing period because we don't have the same. I said that at the beginning I would have liked to be maybe more focused on the product. We don't have the same like chant des sirènes like we used to. We could have like about maybe you should issue a token. There is so much money to raise, and then you'll be able to build for 10 years or whatever. No, I think now it's interesting that you need to focus, and it's more like maybe a Web2 spirit, I would say. But that's something obviously I'm comfortable with, and it's why I feel this ecosystem right now in Paris, especially, is amazing. We are surrounded by a lot of very promising companies and obviously a lot of very interesting engineers, but that's something we knew from Web2. And I see it as a bright 2023 year because we will build, we will create strong communities, and I guess that the goal for all of us is to onboard people to Web3. Yeah. And in this way, we are a team because compared to Web2 that I know do a games, another game is a competitor, that's different. If you, thanks to Dogami, you bring users to Web3, I would be happy because in the end, they could be users of Immortal Game, and same for you. And I think that I feel a bit this team spirit around the project, and that's something I like.
True. I also recognize that in Web3 you have much more collaboration, but it's true. I don't know if it comes from the philosophical part of decentralization and Web3, or if it's because we're so new in the ecosystem that we have to help each other.
Yeah, definitely. We're all dead. Yeah, and also because we know that it will be better to make the cake grow than get a bigger,
positive sum game for all of us.
Piece, yeah. So yeah, no, that's something I really like, and I really like about Paris ecosystem right now.
True. So come to Paris and visit us.
Maybe a bit too self-centered, but
that's true. But Paris is definitely thriving right now. All right, but thanks. Thanks, Thomas, for coming in and answering my questions. Thanks, Guy, for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.